For all your pastry, bakery and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Diwli lanni maro lanni
fop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno gerde ten e ngaldo sabu e ngaldo Ibrahima jonnal taw joni mi anda se yahay kapitiki nyawloden ha humpondire makko est ce qu'on non e warude
waden no
ane ko de Ibrahima ma ko to woni
mo Amerique
ko Amerique a woni kede humpitaki fi be musibe men baluwo be andanda kala ko wawda wonde e aduna si arrivi e juude mabbe a jonnay do dépassement Gambia har no weebi ayata kadi taw ko mbudi din no jawi walla no jippi be halanta ma ko kala ko falda ko reise sengo nyamete ili neppa maro basal pomme de terre kala ko rewi don a hendo to har no weebi kadi wona dum don tu be abbe jonnira e mobile phone siko dum kadi laptop kala ko wayrode di ay kasbawa be wawma jonnute kadi sa fala humpitade ko weebi ettu Google account ma joni data ton wada download app mabbe on ayay kala ko humpi may mabbe ton be weebi yama
ka wonda wo e aduna on
kala ko wawda
a jonnana e wondo ka leydi men Gambia do dépense
harano weebi yama si dum no fono nebi immo den joni mi do tama ka place mabbe jan
waden joni
iya heba ko fala
waden kisam
I want to welcome all of you to my humble residence for this maiden event, Breakfast with Editors. I want to thank each and every one of you who are here, who honored the invitation at short notice, and to express my profound gratitude for your coming. I really appreciate this. Everyone here is an old face. I know everyone here, everyone knows me, but we are at different sides of the aisle. I am here and you're on the other side to probe into what I say and what I do, to investigate, to inform, to report, and to keep me accountable. So each of us have our respective roles, but we understand the indispensability of the media. We understand that the media is the most powerful tool in the world today. But there is something more powerful than the media, without which the media itself will not function, without which there will be no media, and that is information. Because the media is involved in the information brokerage business that makes the media powerful, because information is power. And that is the tool trade of the media. So without information, the media also is a toothless bulldog. It is information that is powerful. And your industry deals with information. That makes you the most powerful industry in the world. You can cause wars, you can cause civil strife, you can cause genocide, you can wreak havoc around the world. But you can also be a source of stability and peace. So the media is a double-edged sword. It can destroy in the hands of deranged persons, particularly if they're in political authority. But it can do tremendous good throughout from the Renaissance to date, all the way through the Industrial Revolution that created the middle class, down to the political revolutions of the 19th century that gave birth to political pluralism, to the information explosion, the digital age, nanotechnology. The media has always been there, has accompanied human progress and prosperity as a very dependable and loyal ally. And for us in the political field, we cannot function without you, and no society can function without you. We consider the judiciary the most important organ of the state because it is one organ that can neutralize the actions of all other organs of the state. It can declare acts of the president unconstitutional, strike it out. It can say parliament has no power to do certain things, strike it out. But the media is also the overarching overlord above the judiciary because the media can bring down a judiciary. It can bring down a corrupt state. So it is the most powerful weapon and the most powerful institution before the state. That is why, from experience, I believe the only way, the only practical relationship between any given institution or person with the media is one of partnership. You cannot control the media, you cannot muzzle it, you cannot censor it. It is as free as the wind. And that is how it should stay. And that is how it should stay. Because the media is about the liberation of the human mind and human spirit. And that is where ingenuity germinates. Without which there will be no electricity, we will not have the plane, we will not have the internet. It's all about ideas. And that's what the media does. So for a government that cares about prosperity, a government that cares about development, or a political leader, or an industry leader, you must have the media on the right side of your body, not on the left side. So for us, this is the beginning of what is going to be a continuous process from now all the way down to State House and beyond. We are going to have regular session with the editors because you shape the news. The reporters bring it and you decide what to put in and what to throw out. And that is why it's important that we have this interface between you and us so that we can blow the line. We can, in fact, eliminate the line that often is seen as them and us. There is no them and us between us and the media. So this is the beginning by GMC to engage the media at a very relaxed and informal setting, where we not just have a press conference and we stand there with an issue or with a message to deliver, and you are there to probe into your personal interest too, what you need to know. It is always a different setting. But we want an environment where we can interact, we can chat, we can be ourselves, we can all let down our guard and be human again, and have a normal relationship. This is what this is intended to serve. And within that context and atmosphere, we can also talk about issues in a more relaxed and relaxed environment. And that is what this series begins to start. This is the first of its type in the history of this country, that a politician or a political party is beginning a situation of this nature. To sit down with newspaper editors and to converse in a free environment. We didn't go to a hotel because it would be a different setting. We debated, so let's go to a hotel. They would prefer that better. It's more elegant. But I want you to come home. This is my house. This is where I am, my Fatou, the ordinary, the family man, the father, the nobody. And I want you to come to my home so that you can feel, I can have that feeling of having friends and partners at home. And not some hotel where I have to pay for, that there are rules and so forth. Here, you can run to my bedroom. You can use any bathroom you want. You can, we are all working on the carpet. Everyone is free here. That's the sort of environment I want. So we can be together and we can develop a partnership, a relationship in the interest of national development. Of course, we want you to do your job. We want the media to perform its role. Without the media, we can't even consolidate our democracy. There is no way we can go. So today, I am not calling you to deliver any major policy statement. I have done that at several press conferences covered by a lot of you. And we will be doing that at other events. Here is just an interaction among friends, among partners. Sometimes let us just get together and eat and shake hands and talk about old times and do stuff and just go our way. It's very useful, it's important. It brings down the tension, it makes us feel more human. And it eliminates all the strictures that are there. You write about us, you say things that we may not want to read, but it's your job. And we also come and say things that you may not want to hear. That is a symbiotic relationship. No one should feel hurt. Everyone is doing a job, and everyone's job has to be done. There's no antagonism. It's just a job. It's like an article. No one should personalize it. So we separate your job from the person. All of you are my friends. Lamin is a good friend of mine. I trusted him to a point that I wanted him to be my media advisor because I recognize his talent. I don't know him A from Adam, but I see talent that I recognize and appreciate. But this is not a talent that you don't want to control. That's not the purpose. And it is not a talent that you want to buy in and say, this is in my corner. It's a talent to nurture in the interest of the country. Once I think there was an instance when I had reason to call Lamin when I was on the quarantine. These things happen. Lamin Cham. Fatou is like a sister. But if necessary, Fatou will anchor a program that will talk completely about my record in service or outside. And people will come and hammer me heavily. I don't have to feel that, he says, look, my sister Fatou is having a program and the entire 1 hour is on my head. That would be immature. And you young reporters, I used to be in your shoes. I was a reporter. I started from high school. I reported and I was sent to prison because of reporting. The first time I went to prison actually was for something I wrote in the newspapers, under Dixon College, the national newspaper. And we were the founders of GPU. As funny as it may be, I am a founder member of GPU. So many of them are late. Babukar Gay, Dixon College, did Hydra, Babukar Gay, BBC, Stubla, and Papsen is alive. I will tell you these things. This is true. So I was in the business of the media as well. And I went reporting and interviewed Sarora Jawara and a host of others during my school days. So it's a profession that I enjoy. And certainly other witness alive is Dia Jao. They know very well during the days of the Senegambia Confederation and things leading to that, the battle between the press and the politicians. So it's something I'm very comfortable in, and I have a lot of respect for the media and for the journalists. So today, it's the beginning of Breakfast with Editors. It's going to be better. It's going to be better organized and better managed as we go on. But we have to start. We have to start. It's going to be routine. Once or twice a month, we will have, and it's going to get better every time. It's necessary we sit down, and perhaps we might invite a guest speaker who is not even a politician to come and say something about our country that we can all learn from. But it has to be an atmosphere where we should like, oh, you see a journalist, you're worried that there is some skeleton somewhere, maybe he's trying to uncover that. We're all human, we all make mistakes. Sometimes it's best these things should come at the right time. No one is perfect. Some of the greatest people in life have done some of the worst things in their lives. Some of the greatest generals of Islam, Khalid, Umar bin Khattab, and all these people, the disciples of the Prophet, they were enemies before. They wanted to kill him. They ended up becoming his allies. So somebody, an enemy today, could be a great friend tomorrow. It all depends on principles. So the press is not an enemy. The press is indispensable to development. It's important for the state. And certainly I am with you in all your struggles to create the kind of environment that you want to operate within. We are against all the laws that inhibit your operations and your practice. We believe that a lot of the fees that are attached to your practice should come down. And we also believe that the code of conduct that voluntarily you're creating for us recently, it's a very good thing. It's going to improve the profession indeed. Having said that, I want to say a little bit about the elections, the 2021 elections, particularly on the preparedness by the IEC. We are very worried. GMC is very concerned that the IEC does not seem fully prepared to conduct proper elections. We have had a cancellation of registration, and then we have once more registration coming on. And the discussions that is ongoing between the IEC and the political parties through the IPAC, Inter-Party Committee, reveals that suddenly there is a lot of work that needs to be done on the part of the IEC. Even more worrying is the revelation by the IEC that no funds has yet been allocated to them. The Gambia government is yet to disperse the money necessary for their activities to take place. So here, we are in an election year, almost halfway through the year. They have not accessed the funds that they need in order to get the job done. So when are we going to have this registration comprehensively done? And the time period also open up for registration is limited. We think it's too small. It should be expanded in order to allow more people to get registered. But also we are concerned that the registration process is going to be based on the old method that happened in the previous government. That is attestation on the old register, on the old elections, voters card, and the old ID card, and so forth. This is going to open a floodgate for potential fraud, because attestation is some of the worst things that you can find. Any elders can call anyone a citizen, and is not even subject to public verification. It is just a piece of paper written, and it goes to the elections official at the point of registration, at the point of voting, and as long as the signatures are right, this person can vote. This is a grave source of concern for us. The other element is the fact that the electoral register itself has not been properly sanitized yet, because we know there are strong allegations and suggestions of non-Gambians who are on the electoral register. And when you talk about this, they said, bring proof, give us the names. But then why would it be necessary to transport people from Mauritania and people from other regions, other countries bordering us to come and vote in the Gambia? Why would it be necessary? Why would it be necessary for a political party to hire buses to cross Mauritania or cross Senegal and come to Gambia to vote? And why would it be necessary to bring people from neighboring Senegal with buses and so forth to come and vote? Why would it be necessary to have them lodge at schools, to have them lodge at other public places if they are Gambians? Because if you are a Gambian, you should have a place to stay. Every Gambian should have a relative, even if you are out of this country, where you should go and stay if you are a Gambian to go and conduct your elections. But then we have seen that those people who are transported across the borders to come and vote will still have the opportunity to vote because the electoral system is as well as what operated under Yahya Jammeh. So, and it is the power of incumbency that made it possible to sustain that suspicious system. And we have another incumbent, who is pretty much in what we call in law in pari materia with what used to obtain in terms of the determination to win an election. And I say this not out of emptiness. I say this because I've heard from the highest authority of this country that it's either a do or die. We must win this election, even if it means a death. So it's a do or die affair. Either we get it or nobody gets it. A do or die. So if you have that, and that is what Yahya Jammeh used to do. That is the conduct we have seen Yahya Jammeh. Now we have seen it exhibited at the highest level. So this is also very worrying. I am concerned that the ruling party is going to extreme to disclose the totality of their mind about an election that is just beginning a process. The process is just beginning. It starts with registration. So it does not augur well for the future of politics in this country when all other opposition parties will be put on notice that you must get your militants and you must get your supporters ready. It is going to pretty much introduce vigilante politics in our elections this year. Because we talk about do or die, well, GMC members also would say, no, if you want a do or die, let's get a do or die. Then you have other political parties that do or die. You're calling about war in this country. I think this kind of conduct statements are unfortunate. Political leaders should not be making that, and I think there should be a further clarification on this type of statements. The other thing that is of concern to us, the election, is with the diaspora. This is something we've been fighting for over 2 decades. We want the diaspora to vote. Countries that are even more unstable and less organized, like the Gambia, like Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, they're able to conduct elections in the diaspora. We've seen them voting in the Gambia and elsewhere. The Gambia is with all our problems, a much better organized and higher system than these countries. There should be no reason why the diaspora should not vote. Diaspora vote should be a must. And the fact that we do not have funds is laughable. It is a manifestation of lack of commitment and perhaps some palpable fear about diaspora support. The reason is this country is able to spend more than $200 million on fuel and repair of government vehicles. Fuel coupons and so forth, pretty much a month. These are leakages, these are wasteful spending that goes nowhere. We've seen these four-wheel drives all the time, everywhere, day and night, 24 hours. When I was there, I had it too. But oftentimes, I would use my private vehicles after working hours. So there is a lot of wasteful spending in government that should be used to get the diaspora to vote. There is enough money around. Look at the budget of the Minister of Finance, the budget of Office of the President. And we can cut down more and more of this wasteful spending. And a lot of these monies can go into. Right now, the Gambia has just obtained some other $300 million from the IMF. Now, these are monies really that is coming for what they call budgetary support. So we should be able to corral some expenditure somewhere, claw it into a basket, and invest it into diaspora voting. So when there is the political will and the government is committed, the diaspora should be able to vote and can vote. So it will be interesting for us to see whether the diaspora will also sit down and not do nothing about it and leave it to political parties alone. There should be a partnership between the diaspora and IPAC, that is the Inter-Party Committee, in order to ensure that the government is able to fulfill a constitutional mandate because the law says they should vote. They should vote. So there's no exception. And there's enough time now. We still have up to 7 months to go to elections. So when there's seriousness on the side of the political parties and the diaspora, the government will be compelled to listen to the demands of its citizens. And it is also a region. It's a region of the Gambia. It is part of it. It is the 8th region of the Gambia. And if it is the 8th region of the Gambia, some countries have allocated them parliamentary seats. I think the Gambia should do the same. Now, not only that, the role of the diaspora in sustaining the economy alone justifies it. So we cannot dispense with citizens that maintain the posts, that are putting food on the table, that are responsible for a lot of the beautiful structures that are being constructed everywhere all over the country. In fact, without the diaspora, this country would have sunken. No doubt about that. In the old regime and even now. So they are Gambians. They have equal right to participate in the affairs of their government. They have a right to vote and be voted for. There is no difference between a Gambian living in the Gambia and a Gambian living in the United States or Angola or Italy or also elsewhere. Your citizenship is not suspended by virtue of your absence from your country. You remain a Gambian no matter where you reside in this world. And so the rights of citizenship remain attached to you as an individual Gambian, wherever you are. Those rights are not suspended and they cannot be withdrawn by any law because they exist by virtue of your nationality. Now, a fundamental obligation and a fundamental duty and a fundamental advantage, benefits of being a citizen is the right to participate in the affairs of your country, particularly politically. And so this right is an indice of citizenship, of nationality. Gambians outside the country remain Gambians, and the right which is guaranteed by the Constitution remains a guaranteed right for them as well. Whether it is accrued right, whether it is acquired right, all classes of rights or categories of rights remains accrued and attached to the person of a Gambian who is eligible to vote at the age of voting. And therefore, that denial to grant them the exercise of such a higher citizenship right is unjustifiable. It is illegal and it's unacceptable. So I urge the Gambia government, calling on the Gambia government, to work with our international partners and make it possible for diaspora to vote. We have no pre-calculation as to why the diaspora should vote or not. For some, it's a political calculation. You don't have much support in diaspora, so the diaspora equation is going to go against you. Or you believe you have a stronger support in the diaspora, so the equation is going in your favor. We believe that Gambians who live in the diaspora, no matter how much noise they make at the end of the day, care deeply about this country. And so they will focus on the issues. When it comes to the battle of ideas, GMC is second to none in this country. We are willing for the debate, we're ready for the debates, and we are ready for the ideas contest. So we are also ready for the diaspora to engage us and for us to engage them, because objectively speaking, looking at principles and looking at policies, we believe we will do far much better than political parties that are making a lot of noise. At the end of the day, it's all about the future of this country. It's about our people, it's about jobs, it's about healthcare, it's about education, it's about the things that matter to all of us. And this is where we think we have an edge. So diaspora voting is extremely important, and I'm spending some time talking about it. The other issue that is also important is the issue that has to do with, I talked about it briefly, territories that live within our border, near our borders. But then this takes me back to an issue, security. The security situation of the country today is very deplorable. Security of life, the value of life, in fact, diminishes every day in this country. Every day somebody is killed at some point. It's no longer news. The days when we were much younger, when someone dies at Koina, the whole nation is shocked. It's big news for the whole country. Today, if you wake up in the morning and it comes to night and nobody's dead, you wonder, did anybody die today? So it is no longer shocking, it's no longer news. And that's because the fundamental obligation of the state is to protect the citizens, to maintain security and law and order. This is not happening. The state is not according the due benefit to citizens in terms of protecting their lives and properties. And this is why this cannot be sustained. Even in the days of the dictatorship, the Gambia has not witnessed so much crime, so much grievous crime, armed robbery, murder, and other serious crimes as rapid and as frequent as they are in this country. And thieves, criminals are getting more daring. They come broad daylight and they use weapons. They will get you in traffic and get rid of your car and take your money and, and hurt you. Broad daylight. And we have a government. What is the purpose of government? What is the function of government? These are things we need to talk about, and when you do, some people get on the defensive. But these are legitimate questions we must talk about. We must not just criticize the president for the sake of criticizing. He's a friend of mine. We go a long way. But suddenly, when it comes to the Gambia, we must defend our people, and we must, all of us must work together. Now, but then you also have institutions that have responsibility of protecting Gambians. You have the SIS. In fact, I'll call it the NIA, because the SIS does not exist in law. It is still the NIA. There is no SIS, it is just a policy declaration. The NIA is what is contained in the law. So we still have the NIA, aka SIS. Now, their job is to gather intelligence and make sure that policymakers have access to this information. What are they doing? What is SIS doing, the NIA doing about this high crime rate? Why is it that there's always intelligence failure? Things happen, then later on we begin to go to postmortem. You have the police force. How many vehicles do they have to patrol? What is the amount of fuel that is allocated to them? How many of them are computerized in their stations? Some police stations you look at, it's a shame. So some kind of shanty building, you see a Gambia police flag flying over that. It's a disgrace in the 21st century. You look at those buildings, you look at some of those decrepit buildings, that tells you the attitude. It tells you how serious they are, the attitude towards public security. If they themselves can be in such an insecure environment, in such insecure buildings, such insecure neighborhoods, well, it tells you the whole country is in trouble. Now, we need to be more serious, but we cannot be effective if we do not implement the security sector reform. We keep talking about it. I was at one time leading the process, and it stopped. I returned again. I was asked to lead the process, and I abandoned the process because I do not see any real seriousness or commitment towards creating a real security sector in this country. Now, there is no way that this country will remain safe if we continue on the political trajectory that we are. So it is necessary for us to have a new parameters, for us to have a new phenomenon in terms of security, that we must change the governance infrastructure. The entire governance infrastructure architecture has to be changed, has to go. Now, the other thing that is also a concern to us is the frequent incursion by Senegalese forces, law enforcement agents, either Senegalese army or gendarmerie or police or forest officials. I understand that there is something called, hot pursuit. It's there. I understand that this was a security agreement that was signed between the Gambia and Senegal. And I want to make it clear that when I was Minister of Interior, I did not sign any such security agreement. I was not aware of it. I was not a part of it. And the Ministry of Interior during my time did not negotiate, did not discuss or sign any such thing. It must have been the Ministry of Defense, because we were not really, I was not a part of the process. I knew we went to Senegal sometime in March and April 2017, and I knew that a number of protocols were signed. But the Minister of Interior was not involved in signing any such agreement. So oftentimes when I complain about it, people say, but well, you were the Minister of Interior. They said you signed it at the time. Let me make it abundantly clear. As the Minister of Interior, I did not sign on behalf of the government any such security agreement with the Republic of Senegal or any country that allows or permits any foreign force to enter the Gambia, arrest a Gambian, or any other person who enters the Gambia running from any territory. But it is not abnormal in international relations. It is not abnormal. These are things that happen between states. And this is why it exists in international law. It also exists in international. It's a concept that is alive in many countries. So the fact that it is in the Gambia, between the Gambia and Senegal, does not make it wrong. It is the manner of implementation. One. Secondly, the Gambians ought to be adequately informed. There should be transparency. The government ought to tell Gambians, we have signed this agreement, and this is what our obligation is. And this is the obligation of the other party, so that it is known by Gambians. Because it is also in the interest of the Gambia that when you are pursuing a criminal that is fleeing from our territory, enters into Senegal, that our security forces are able to pursue them and arrest them and bring them back to face the law. So it is in the advantage of both countries it can be used. But since it has been executed up to date, the Gambia has not used a single instance pursue a fugitive running from our territory into Senegal. Now, the manner of implementation also is very worrying to us. That is, there's often a lot of hostility with local communities. You run into somebody's country, with a convoy of trucks loaded with soldiers or gendarmerie with weapons, with guns, and you are running after one person into a village. Everybody is scared. And oftentimes the authorities will tell you they don't know, they are not even aware. They are not even aware. So I think it is being abused. I think the manner, it needs to be reviewed. We are not totally against the idea of hot pursuit, but we think it should be reviewed. We think there should be guidelines, and we also believe that there should be conditions for it to exist, for it to be implemented. It cannot just be a blanket right of a foreign force to enter our country with guns, anytime, in any part of our country, scare our communities, shoot, sometimes hurt them, and then arrest anybody and take them back to their country. We are also concerned about this issue of timber trade. We think it is wrong that the environment must be protected, that we shouldn't be felling trees and so forth. This is why the Gambia also has a Minister of Forestry in charge of forestry. We know it's important that we should, reserve our forest. But the Gambia is a sovereign country. When allegedly timber is smuggled out of Senegal into the Gambia, it is a failure of the security system in Senegal. Because the Senegalese government authorities should make sure that they control their borders to prevent smuggling of timber from their country into our country. That is a fact. Now, if they fail in securing their borders and timber is smuggled from Senegal into the Gambia, enter Gambian territory, it is now the business of the Gambia and Gambian law enforcement. It is no longer the responsibility of the origin country after they had crossed the border. Now, oftentimes, we are told that even timber that originates from the Gambia are also confiscated and sent to our neighboring country. I think this is wrong. The Gambia is a sovereign country. It is necessary that both sides should review this agreement as well in order to accord greater significance to our sovereignty and our local authorities. Because sometimes our local authorities, including our law enforcement agents, appear powerless, and this sort of apparent intimidation should not exist. I have relationships in Senegal, like most of us, most of you. In fact, I have a Senegalese wife, I will say publicly. But we must be honest that our personal relationship is one thing. But it is important that, as a government, we respect the sovereignty of a state. So it is important that the two countries should review these agreements as well in order to assuage the fears of our Gambians in this country. The other area that I'm going to talk about essentially here, and which is going to be the conclusion, is the political tension. The political atmosphere is being overheated due to the rhetoric that is out there. Now, the kind of language that comes from political operatives, particularly within the middle and the lower ladder of politics. And sometimes you have some outrageous statements from political party leaders themselves, but mostly it's the supporters. Now, the politics of insult is becoming a grave concern. The politics of money is becoming a grave concern. Nowadays, it's very important people should understand that if you mortgage your political opportunities for a bag of rice or for 1,500, then you mortgage your future for 5 years and the future of your children. I think the media has a responsibility to play in this to ensure that our political discourse is based on issues, based on ideas, and not on character assassination and not on personal vendetta. And I'm very worried that Gambian politics is being divided among tribal lines, ethnic lines. If you talk about political party A, they say, well, that is more loyalty from this particular ethnic group and the other one from the ethnic group. It is time that we think Gambian, that we must look at the generality of the interests of our citizens as a whole and not a representative of an ethnic group. We are not looking for ethnic leaders. We are looking for statesmen and women who will change the trajectory, who will change the political fortunes of this country for the better, for generations yet unborn. So that is a message we should carry out. But also, the media do give importance to certain statements that serve no national unity purpose. So I'll urge on you, as you do your job, to ensure that politicians who are prone to making verbal statements about situations are really put to task, to prove, the submissions that they make across the country. Now, essentially, these are some of the issues I would like to share with you. Like I said, it's not any major policy statement occasion. It's an occasion to interact, for friends to relax. Especially, we are your greatest constituents, and certainly we are also your biggest clients, because a lot of your work centers around what we see and what we do. So, as partners, it's necessary once in a while we come together and forget about the sparks that go behind the scenes. With all the reporters you send to various places to dig deeper under our feet, we can just sit down together and relax and be friends, be partners. This is what that serves. I hope it can be bigger the next time, and we can organize better. It's the first time. Everything is provided by my wife. Of course, the Fulas have tested food they've never tested before, which is quite okay. But I want to thank all of you. If you have one or two questions, yes. I want to recognize the presence of Ms. Fatou, who is the National Women Mobilizer of GMC. She's sitting on the other side. She's the National Women Mobilizer for GMC. Of course, I recognize the presence of Sida Kijera, who is our media liaison. She was the National Women Mobilizer previously for GMC. Now she is part of you, but biased, of course, naturally. And I have now the Director of Logistics, GMC is also here, Ablai Mbalo. He's also present here with me. Then we have two members of the National Youth Executive. We have Ablai Koli and Bubakar Jaite are also here. They are part of the GMC National Youth Leadership. I want to thank them for coming, and I want to thank all of you. If you have a few questions, I'll take. Other than that, the occasion is for us to and see some old faces once again. Thank you very much.
So I think this is the first political leader who is organizing something like this. With elements. I think it's a good initiative. Like you said, we are all partners in development. Sometimes, it's always difficult for our relationship is always difficult and tense because we are always expecting the political leaders to hold you to account. But my question is a very simple one. We're just about 7 months to election. This is going to be the first election, presidential election, since the overturning of the dictatorship. From GMC point of view, what does this election mean for the future of this country?
I think that's a very important question. It looks very simple, but it's very, very important and not an easy question. Yes, this is the first election that will be organized post-dictatorship. And it's extremely important for our country because we are at a watershed. This is considered a transition. It's a bridge a bridge with the future, a bridge from dictatorship to the consolidation of democracy. So this election is about two things. Is it a continuation of the status quo, that is an extension of the dictatorship, or is it a transformation? That is what this election is all about. We say a continuation of the status quo because there has not been any major policy change from the dictatorship. I mean, in terms of the way government functions, except of course the freedom part of it.
Okay, Honorable, thank you very much for this initiative. Yes, you are right. This kind of forum really will make politicians and journalists feel more comfortable to interact and talk in a more normal, ordinary setting, different from news conference calls or political bill or interviews, etc. You mentioned or expressed concern on a number of things pertaining to election matters. One of the things I want to fix and ask you and GMC through the Inter-Party Committee, IPC, is your concern that these present governments who are interested in running for elections are not very keen in departing from some of the suspicious practices, election practices that have happened in the past, such as, you know, according or giving national voters cards to people who are not correct, who are not Gambians. Now, what will be the position of your GMC and your connection with IPC to combat that menace which always afflicts Gambian voters? For example, and specifically I mean foreigners getting voters cards. You mentioned, of course, attestations which you are concerned with. It could be really subject to abuse, etc.
Yes.
So tangibly, Gambians want to know, because it's not just your concern, it's been said everywhere in the corner that the parties, especially the incumbents, always rely on giving votes to non-Gambians in practice. You yourself have attested to the fact that during the past 22 years, people have been transported from Conakry, from Casamas, etc., under the pretext of coming and vote. So that raised suspicion over their Gambianness. Now, what are you going to do tangibly, either as GMC or through the IPC, to combat this from now on as we are going down to the registration process?
That's very important. First of all, I want to thank you for that. It's very important that this be put within context. This is something that all of us have been clamoring about during the days of opposition before 2016. I remember I have been talking about this all throughout 2011, all the way down to 2016. So was the UDP and DOI and all the parties that were in the coalition, including President Barrow himself. Now, we thought, because this was a consensus in terms of concern for all of us in the coalition, it was something that we were going to do something about when we took over the reins of power. And it was supposed to be part of a general comprehensive reform program, a reform of the electoral laws, reform of the constitution and so forth. And but it appears the political will to change these old laws that all of us campaigned against during the Jammeh days, the political will has diminished because the incumbent believes that these laws will also empower it when it becomes necessary, that it can be also deployed to their advantage. So therefore, every effort to bring these kind of laws, to have them amended or to have them repealed, has not been successful. And truckloads ferrying people across the borders to come and vote. And they will be non-Gambians because they'll house them, just like Yajame days, in schools and other public places. Suddenly, because they have no affiliation in this country. Now, if that takes place, whoever has an interest to do that, whoever wants to do that, I am sending a warning that we must be ready to lock all of us in prison because we will not legitimize that election. If we have Gambians coming from outside the country and are lodged at public places, we are going to assume irrevocably that they are non-Gambians, and the onus will be on them to...
And then that leaves room for anybody who wants to do anything, get people to start illegally. As a party, is GMC taking mechanisms to make sure non-Gambians are not registered to start registration in 2 days? What is GMC doing as a party? I know you say you're trying to work with other parties, but if that doesn't work, it's always difficult to have all of you come together and do things as a group. What is GMC particularly going to do to make sure they have people at registration centers just to make sure the right people are registered?
This is very important. It is very difficult to achieve any meaningful progress in this area because it's a question of evidence. And it's also a question of coverage, nationwide, your capacity. Now, GMC as a political party, and we have a close working relations with this party, with these people. But we must be truthful. Let us be truthful. Tonya for teria, abuka teria sa, for na atara sa siloka. For we must be truthful. So we started veering off from the main road. The moment we begin to abandon the main pillar of the coalition, that is the duration of the time period. For one. Secondly, what do we do within this time period? It is transition, reforms, reforming of the laws, a new constitution, transitional justice. These are the sort of things we should focus on. But we derail from that, again, because President Barrow was enabled, he was empowered to get off track. So GMC did not play any role in that. So my first priority is youth employment, to make sure young people have jobs when they leave school, that they're able to have a decent income to take care of themselves, that they are skilled enough to rely on themselves and not just on white-collar jobs. So we are going to fund heavily vocational schools, vocational and training schools. So Gambians will be able to go into masonry, into welding, into carpentry, into become machine technicians and so forth, mechanics. These are necessary because today that is what the Gambia lacks. When you're looking for builders, you have to go to Senegal. Now, when it's Towaski and these things, you don't find them anymore. When your car has breaks down, you go to a garage that is mostly manned by non-Gambians, foreigners. So these are areas that we need, and they make a lot of money. So these are areas where Gambians can rely on themselves. Plus, there is so much money, so much corruption going around in public service. A lot of these monies, we should plug those loopholes, the leakages. We should plug the leakages and make sure there's enough money, seed money, to give young Gambians, to train them to become entrepreneurs so that they can start something. That corner carpentry shop, that corner welding shop that makes all the windows for them, for people, for homes. Involve them in civil engineering works, in building of roads, in public structures construction. All these are things that government themselves must be involved in. So I will empower the Gambia Youth Chamber of Commerce. This is very necessary. We will work with them as partners. We'll work with the Youth Parliament, and we'll involve them in decision making. In fact, my chief of staff will be a very young person. As president, my chief of staff will be a young person, because a leader is only a leader if you are able to build leadership. You are already a leader, but you must groom, you must build up leadership, so that when you are not there, others are able to do better. In fact, a good leader is able to surround himself with people who are much better than you. If you are better than people who surround you, there's nothing that they can offer you. But you must surround yourself with people who know better than you, and you must have the confidence to rely on them, to trust them, without any inferiority complex. A leader is a supervisor. You cannot do it all. So that's the kind of leaders we are going to offer. We will focus on generating employment for the youth. They are the future of this country, and we must give them the responsibility. So when their time is up, they're already built. That's what we need to do. We will improve their ingenuity, their creativity, their intelligence. That's what we are going to focus on. We cannot do that if we don't go to the roots. We must change the educational curriculum, because it is too theoretically based. The educational curriculum of the whole country will be radically reformed. We are going to change it and put what is relevant for this country, for our development needs. I'm not talking about glaciers in Newfoundland, somewhere in Canada. What is glaciers? What are ice? when we don't even know the gullies that are building up due to this erosion in sands and so forth. You don't even know Helakunda Highland, what is it, Helakunda Hills, Congo. You're already talking about studying something Mount Everest. So the educational curriculum has to change. It has to be focused on the realities of the Gambia, so that the Gambian graduate will know more about his country and what his country needs than what England and Russia needs, or the confrontation between America and another country, so forth. So that Gambians who are in the urban area will have to go and serve somewhere in the rural areas. And rural areas will come around. So you know your country, you know yourself. You become a liberated Gambian. You can love your country. And we'll, in the same way, we will promote internal tourism, so that, you can go with your wife and, you go to Nyomi and enjoy time there, or you go to Badibu, go into the forest, we're looking for mankanaso. If you find one, you're lucky. If you don't find one, then that's it, So these are the sort of things that we're going to do. We want the Gambia to be self-sufficient, to be independent, and not just depending on IMF and World Bank. Our government, in fact, will cut down all these things, and we will radically reduce importation of rice, which is going to be very painful for a period, because Gambians eat a lot of rice, because we are going to encourage production. So for the first 5 years, it may not be a very popular government, but it is going to be the most popular government in history, because history will look back upon it, and Gambians will applaud us when we are already gone, not during when we are there. So we are not coming in looking for popularity. We are coming to get a job done, and not to be necessarily popular, but to do the actions, to take the decisions that are good for the long-term interest of this country. Now, the good ones will vote us back again, and those who are lazy and felt that getting back to the field for the government to feed itself will say, well, Nyilama Sekunda, Mano Bukasoto, and maybe all the Fulas will migrate back to Guinea. Thank you.
I know the son is very close, but then they became very close to the question.
Yes.
We've seen a lot of movement in all the political parties
Yes.
in nominating their presidential candidates.
Yes.
I mean, what is going on in your party, GMC? Are you also making move towards selecting a presidential candidate? And if it happens to be my Ahmad party, will you run, will you contest the December election? Because already we've seen a number of candidates who, they just about confirm that they are going to run. If it happens to be you, will you run for president? Not necessarily joining or somebody joining you, but you standing independently and contesting the election.
Yes, GMC will have a function that will decide who its president candidate will be. We are going into a national convention. The convention will take place hopefully next month. A date is not confirmed, because the executive will have to sit down to determine that. What we've been planning a national convention during the period of the COVID. In fact, we are going to hold it, and they said 8 more days. After 8 days, nobody can have anything again, because COVID sent a message to State House that they will come after 8 days. After 8 days that time, so we could not do our own. But we will have a convention, hopefully soon, before the rains come. The rains start. Well, I don't know when the rains will start, but before the end of June, we will have a convention, and before the end of next month, GMC would be declared to the whole country. Now, if I happen to be the candidate for GMC, I will confirm that yes, I will contest elections. I will. If I happen to be the one GMC, the convention approves. I don't know. We have people who have ambitions. There is one sitting here. She might want to contest. So if she defeats me at the convention, well, then I'll follow her. But I'm hoping that she will vote for me instead, and she will not present herself as a candidate. But yes, the GMC will go into a convention next month. The convention will decide on a candidate. And if that candidate hypothetically happens to be me, I'm going to contest election as candidate for president of the Gambia. Yes. 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 We are proposing an amendment to the current Election Act, what we have. But there's a draft, and the draft is very comprehensive. It talks about too many other things. But we believe that the current constitution can be amended, and the constitution already provides for diaspora voting. So we will only insist that the government complies with its constitutional obligations to ensure that the diaspora votes. Particularly, this is a government led by people who always fought for the right of the diaspora to vote. So we would like to see a synergy between their statements and their actions. They have stated that they want the diaspora to vote. Now, we would like to see this commitment there. Now, in the event that it appears this may not take place, we would like to work with the diaspora to enforce this right. That is, if necessary, the matter can go into litigation, because it is a constitutional right. And every right in the Constitution can be enforced. Now, the government is for them to say, I think it's too early for them to say there are no funds. So, do you think it's not late to do that? I don't think it is. I don't think it is, but we are getting there. I don't think it is. But it is also for the diaspora to take it very serious. Because you see, you cannot leave everything in the hands of political parties. When your right is affected, you should get up as a citizen, you enforce your right. Any member or any group in the diaspora can initiate action in the Gambian courts, compelling the Gambian government to extend the franchise to them in consonance with the constitutional provision. And we hope that the diaspora will do that. Yes. Thank you.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan, Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek. Loo lañ soxlaati rek. Maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi defee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon that classic suitcase dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner, Kiwi Eye, the whole range, Lighten Up Gold, Tomatine. I mean, the list can just go on and on and on and on. lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox skincare plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu ngi United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes fragrances men's shirts accessories We do dresses as well. We do blouses. I mean, we do shoes. Name it, we do them. Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection. Zero task. Fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task. Kenn waratu fi am problème kanam. Kenn waratu fi am problème picca. Boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii.
Love, 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 love like fire. Bring my yobo gumba fine. Love, 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 love like fire.
I get it.
Mbijan raganyadi.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyinji.
Okay.
Korsana.
Nsila ID soto.
Ha, sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola sota Gambia jang.
Ha?
Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi ma nin domorol din fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo nga kumfa kendol sotale je.
Wo moyo diat.
Apelenta
ni wo ka ni lafta nyelen kendol e binaji.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.